evidence, such as articraft of any kind that supports that we had been, that we have alien craft or things like that. As long as we don't have any evidence that this is just talk or part of an intentional effort by somebody or some group to make us believe in the alien presence for a future scenario. And, like I said, I don't want to be dogmatic about anything. And you mentioned about, that pre-tribulation rapture or things like that, because even I myself, I'm not certain about these things. It's because we all know in parts only. Uh, so Bible says that we all know in parts, and I believe that nobody has the whole truth because the truth is so deep, and we cannot handle everything, and all everybody just only knows only a small fraction of maybe the truth, and so that's my stance right now. But it's a fascinating topic, no question about it, and but I'll tell you one thing interesting is that I was part of this program called the about the Black Project. There was a video produced in 1993, I believe, about the Black Projects program, and one of the researchers, Jim Goodall, I believe, he is an aviation expert, and in that video that was produced in 1993, he mentioned that some government informant told him that we will not know anything about all of this till the year 2025. And he clearly stated that in the video that was produced in 1993. And, it seemed like this is quite interesting because we don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows the future, but it's interesting to bring up this next year because what if it is true? The reason I'm saying this is because back in the 1990s, the Air Force had this future plan called the Air Force 2025. And, maybe it's a coincidence, but some researchers believe that something will happen in 2025 concerning UFOs. But every year people speculate that something will happen next year, but it never happens. But we should always keep in mind that this is interesting stuff. We don't know until it happens.
Yeah, you're dead right when you've been saying like we basically know next to nothing. Like we only knows a minute portion of what's going on, and the problem is with people is they like to think they know more than they do. They're dogmatic on things that they shouldn't be being dogmatic about, and they think they're very clever when they're not. And these entities, these fallen ones, they're much smarter than we are. They've been around for thousands of years, and they can manipulate us easily. And people who are looking into this phenomenon need to sort of take a step back and accept that we can't say this is what's going to happen and this is what these are, because we can't. It's such a fascinating topic. I mean, one of the things that brought me into investigating UFOs was the crop circle phenomena and cattle mutilations. I mean, what's your thoughts regarding them two phenomena? Because the cattle mutilation is very disturbing.
Sure, it's a familiar subject because I live in New Mexico, and back in 19 late 1970s, in northern New Mexico, there have been many cases of cattle mutilations, and the state of New Mexico decided to investigate these kind of incidents because many of the ranchers living in northern New Mexico in the 1970s began to complain that their cattle were mysteriously being mutilated, and many of the ranchers claimed that they lost millions of dollars equivalent, or well, tens of thousands of dollars by these mutilations. So a guy by the name of Gabe Valdez, who I personally knew, he was assigned by the state of New Mexico to investigate this phenomenon because it was part of a criminal investigation. So his conclusion after investigating the cattle mutilations for 10 years in the Dulce area, his conclusion was it was not the aliens, but it was the government who was testing the radiation effects of a 1967 nuclear test that took place near Dulce. That was in 1967. It was called Operation Gas Buggy, which was Atomic Energy Commission's plan to benefit the people in northern New Mexico by allowing the ease of the flow of natural gas that's entrapped deep within the rocks underground, And so the Atomic Energy Commission decided to do an experiment, and they did a nuclear explosion about a mile underground outside of Dulce, New Mexico in 1967, and so right now, people in northern New Mexico, especially the near the Indian reservations, they benefit from the natural gas, and so that was a good thing. But there had been some leaks of radiation into the air, and within 10 years of that experiment, some animals like cows began to manifest some kind of disease. And so Gabe Valdez, the state patrol officer in charge of this Dulce area, he concluded that it was the government actually staged alien scenarios to make people believe that the cattle mutilations were done by the aliens. But he had a different idea, which I agree with him also, that it was the government's way of secretly trying to find out how the leaked radiation affected animals' tissues and so on. But anyway, the basic thing is that even today there's a high rate of cancer among the Hickory Apache Indian Reservation around Dulce area. So I think this is a plausible explanation for cattle mutilation, but there have been cattle mutilations all around the world, like South America, Argentina, Chile, and other places in other countries. And so that alone cannot explain the whole cattle mutilation mystery. So we still are, at a loss. So, in other words, there are so many things that are still unsolved in this world, and that's why I keep myself involved in the study of mysteries of the world, because anybody that says that there's no mystery in the world. They don't know what they're talking about because there are so many things in this world today that we don't understand. And the only way to approach this subject is to take a scientific approach. And so, I wrote an article last year about, science is science and belief is belief. And maybe in the future they will meet, the twain will meet. But, I'm a very scientific oriented person, and I respect scientists like the late Carl Sagan and so on, and but yet I am open enough to admit that not everything is explained by science alone, and so that's my position on all of this.